Hello, land of YouTube. I guess I should start out with my tasty beverage. Like always, it's a Rebel drink. And I kind of look like I'm making a little dark statement, huh? This is Rebel, spelled incorrectly, which I like. They have roots, extracts, and beans as their logo. Botanicals and love. Sweet. This is the stacked coffee, straight black. I made a joke about that in the store with a gentleman that looked like he played professional football, just a big guy. And, it was out of love, and we both got along, and it was fucking sweet. In any case, I was like, hey, no pun intended, but pun intended, straight black. In any case, and now today I'm rocking all black, making a video about it, drinking black coffee. Okay, so this is a cold brew coffee with L-theanine, which is very good for the brain, lion's mane, which is also very good for your body, and reishi mushrooms. In which case, mushrooms are a very good topic to transition into because we all evolved from an evolutionary path with mushrooms in it. Our consciousness literally took leaps and bounds from apes discovering mushrooms. Isn't that trippy? I'm not really 100% aware of where everybody's aware. And what I would like to point out is, and it's not a new topic, somebody else founded it. And so I'm just relaying the information when I say this. There is something called the stoned ape theory. If anybody's interested in that topic, go research it. Because I'm convinced that the reason we have these receptors in our bodies and the reason we are who we are is because we all came from a culmination of everything. And with that in mind, really what can harm us? I think a disconnect, maybe. A disconnect from everything, slowly. We just, oh no, we're too good for this. And then we don't explore or we don't investigate and we don't get. And really, I think if we come from everything, maybe at some point we need to have everything to become everything again. Weird, right? So, just thinking deep, like I always do, and land of YouTube, I could only want to inspire you, maybe even inspire controversy or debate, just to get shit going. I like to make people think, and maybe I'm not making you think. Maybe you can make me think. And that's the cool part, because I like to think. So, spurring anything, conversation, debate, love, in a weird way, is actually, having growth happen. And I see growth as, somebody wanting to learn. Or maybe not even wanting to learn, but hearing something that makes them look somewhere, It's like, hey, look over here. There's light behind me, like always. And I'm like, it's a little bright, but, that song pops into my head. And it's an oldies from the 70s, probably, early 70s, I think. Mid to late 70s, maybe. And I do not know the title, but it goes, Mama always told me not to look into the eyes of the sun. But Mama, that's where the fun is. And then it breaks down with the piano solo. And it's like, do 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 do. Do 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 do. So this morning I decided to rock my glasses because I'm walking towards the sunset on the trail. I mean, I went all the way to Sebastopol yesterday, and I kind of knew, and that's I have the time to do this because I'm making the time to do this, and exercise is very important. So I decided to go the opposite way and just investigate because I haven't been this way in a while. And I like what I see. I immediately passed some homes back. You can't see them anymore. But here's the backside of a church. I've been at that church, participated in some harvest party activities and things like that. And it's a pretty cool place. They give away back to the community, food bank stuff. I think that those are beautiful messages of love. And I look at a new path as a way to like reunite with things. Like, I passed some homes that were built in a field I played in when I was little. I used to drive my go-kart around in there and my RC car and different things. And I look at time that's passed. And I think the most important thing in our life would be a man-made constraint idea, which is time. We put a clock on it, and then everybody runs out of time because you're so focused on being on time that you're trying to make a deadline left and right. I fucking say remove all that. I say just make decisions and then watch how they happen, right? Like, I know I'm going to do this, and then how does it work out? It like leaves things open to mystery. My coined phrase that I have not heard anyone else say is like fluid concrete. As in, it's a concrete decision, but then the path that is also concrete is fluid because I'm watching it play out versus trying to manipulate it completely and make it happen and force it and then put a constraint on it and then always be worried or out of time. And you can look at the fucking Alice in Wonderland scene to where that rabbit's running around with a fucking clock and it's like tick tock, tick tock, tick tock, tick. You're out of time. You're out of time. Anybody notice when you're in a hurry, you have no time? But when you're waiting, time stands still? It's almost like your perception of it is the way that you navigate it. Now, if you remove it from the field, like completely from the playing field, as in life being one big game, well, me personally, I removed the game board and the level of any kind of game playing because I no longer believe in that. But if you remove that part of the game to where you're not run by it, you're actually running it. So if you're not run by time and you're running time and you're always on time and you know it, then isn't that a weird freedom? And freedom is something that we're standing for today on July 4th. We're standing for freedom. And I could only inspire everybody with my message of freedom from within. It's a lot. It's a lot of hard work, and it's not that scary. It actually just starts with looking at yourself first. And I look at myself every single instance of every single day. I did a lot of clearing out. You know, I became comfortable with myself. I practiced self-love before anything else because I knew that I needed to love myself before I could love anybody else. And I just knew it. Like, everybody else is like, oh, I need to love you, love you, love you. And then they're harming themselves in the process. Not everybody, but I see that a lot. And when that happens, you build resentments. And when that happens, you damage relationships because really you're ultimately damaging yourself first when you bend on something that you shouldn't have bent on. Just knowing you could let it go and something better might come along in a relationship or in a job or period. If you just look at everything like a fucking relationship. And I get determined and I think, well, my path and my relationship with my path is my relationship. And I look right into the sun right now with my glasses because I can. And I see the relationship I have with that life source, knowing that if it wasn't here, I wouldn't be here. That it's the giver of life. We get vitamins from the sunshine. I mean, how do you get a vitamin visually and transmitted through like radiation and plasma waves? Like, it's a ball of fucking plasma, which is like a thinking ignition source. I mean, that's goofy. Don't hold me to that. But it is fucking beautiful to see the sunset and to be brighter than the sun and to rock that shit. I guess it could be scary, a big ball of fire. No one really wants to identify with that kind of level of, the power that the sun has. No one wants to identify with that kind of level of power. It is the giver of life. We look up, everybody wants to look somewhere else. They want to look at a man-made thing. They want to look at they don't want to look at the ground below them and the sun in the sky. And they don't want to see that it gives life, that without it, we would be done. And then people want to create all kinds of dumb bullshit to fill the gap of basically exploiting your fucking fear of death. And if you have a fear of death, I feel sorry for you. Because guess what? You were born and it's inevitable. This is a little time clock here. This little suit. This little meat suit. And then I want to sing a childhood rhyme that's really, really good that we should always bring back. Like, you want to keep these rhymes going. One like this. You know this little light of mine, I'm going to let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm going to let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm going to let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine. Well, let it shine. And I think deeper and deeper and deeper, as always. And I go into the idea of light. And then, I almost want to look at the feeling that the light gives me from the sky as in a sound. And it sounds and it feels like you can measure it with its frequency, right? And that's a radiation level. And so we get to looking at things like that. And if it's visually, if it's the source of life, and there's some kind of audible, it sounds like the source of life too. Weird. Very, very weird. These trees around us, every single one of them, just doing their job. Maybe that's the truth about all these other individuals I run into, that they're just in their place doing their job. But as a human race, I fear that most of us have lost touch with reality in a weird way. Like, we think we know what reality is. Everybody goes through life looking at that. It's right here underneath our feet, right? It's this wall. It's right here. Well, those 5 senses that we developed kind of led us astray in a weird way. And I can only hope for everybody to open their eyes to a different version of reality that ain't so alien if you start poking around in the dark. And as I mean in the dark, it's like the unknown aspects of our own self. So we go back in our psyche and we start fucking around and we look and we realize everything, and we look and we deeper and we look and we deeper and we deepen our understanding of ourselves. And then as we do that, we start to understand our external world a little bit better. And our reality literally confirms to our perception of it. And as we do that, and if you've listened this long, pay attention. As we do that, we become conscious of our conscious universe. And then what's stopping us? Where's the fucking limit then? I know it sounds like I'm just saying something, but I'm not. I am not just saying anything. I am just relaying message. And if spirit flows through me in that way, well, it's more like being spirit. But this the source code that I regurgitate, some of it's learned. Actually, a fair amount of it's probably crammed in through audiobooks and shit like that, if I'm honest. But other parts of it and other aspects of it are what I have learned as a term, claircognizance. And claircognizance is like just automatically knowing something from nowhere. And with that in mind, that's a psychic trait. So maybe everybody doesn't always have everything going on. But when we get to a certain point, I think consciously, there's like a bonsai wave that takes hold. And then people can or cannot maybe graduate to different levels of consciousness and awareness. And when we get to a certain plane of existence, I want to regurgitate Kurt Cobain again, because he had said in his artistic expression, he was on a plane in one of the songs. And then another song, I'm going to regurgitate again, because the name of their band is Nirvana, right? And then you got other lyrics, and it's all in all is all we are. And it's really actually just a brilliant mind trying to express itself through art. And the artistic expression is music. And so if we decorate ourselves and we walk around in an artfully way in life, are we motion pictures of art, like walking motion pictures? and then okay, well, this coffee's clearly good. It's got me fucking thinking. And today I chose not to have one of those energy drinks, but this is just as good, because man, I'm going. And it will suck if somebody did not watch this whole video because of a preconceived notion or some kind of disdainful idea that was planted in their head. And I think that's the fun part about the term occult, which means hidden in plain sight. So paying attention is the best way to afford receiving information, because you're paying with your attention. And that's the fucking spice of life. So whoever watched this video all the way to the end, almost 20 minutes, maybe 20 minutes, I might go until the 20-minute mark. You deserve this, and you're worth it. And if there's a change that you see you need to make to be a happier individual, to go out and light up the fucking world, to shine bright like Rihanna says, shine bright like a diamond, then do it, because you're worth it. And diamonds are made under a lot of pressure too, so keep that in mind, because sometimes I don't know if things can really happen unless you've been through a lot of shit. And man, I mean, self-harm wise and a lot of other ways, I have been through some shit in my life. And I think if you look back through all these other artist stories, great artists, not so great artists, they all have a similar background. They say, well, I came through hell to get to where I was going. And then like, there's another statement. If you're walking through hell, walk as if you own the place. I like that one, because really quickly we can make our life a living hell by our choices, by our intentions, by our actions. And then we can also make it heavenly. But if you don't have contrast, you have no way to value the good, then that leaves you like a hollow fucking empty shell. And you get to the top of this, like these, corporate mongers or people that step on other people's backs to get to the top. You get all the way up there on this little human carcass ladder. And what happens is, you're like, I'm King Kong, motherfucker, I got to the top. And I'm like, hey, there's a noose up there. Why don't you just walk off into that noose? Because you're a fucking idiot. That's not humankind for humankind. That's the form of selfishness I don't like. But that's just me. I mean, they're also brilliant too in their own way. They're defined, when they get that smart, they're defined as sociopaths, because they don't run their family good so much as they run their business, and that's all they do. All they focus on is work. So that's the sociopathic definition of someone that's really, really good at work, makes a shit ton of money, and that's it. Like they don't graduate to well-balanced roundingness all the time. Some of them do, and then you see they're good human figures, they give back, and they're not living like, a crazy, chaotic piece of shit. Case in point, Keanu Reeves. His story makes sense. Keanu Reeves gives back, and that motherfucker is a beautiful person, and I identify with him a lot. And then he puts on TV some shit. He's an actor in a movie that had a really good message. And I think that, things are out there for us to look at and really interpret and really follow through with if we're serious about the true nature of reality. So with that, I bid you adieu, and I say thank you for watching. Like and subscribe, and stay lit. Land of YouTube.